Hello, fellow Star Trek fans. Welcome back to a brand new episode of the Clonestar podcast. Now, this week, we're doing something a little bit different. I am, overjoyed to welcome one of the kindest human beings on planet Earth, who is the incredible Doug Jones, and, of course, the wonderful Derek Maki as well, to talk about the new documentary film, which is focusing on Doug's, quite frankly, insane career and life. Directed by William Conlin, and the film explores the journey of one of genre entertainment's most distinctive and beloved performers. From Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Hellboy, Pan's Labyrinth, The Shape of Water, and of course, Star Trek Discovery, Doug has helped shape some of modern film and television's most unforgettable characters. We will be talking about what inspired the documentary, what fans can expect, and what it means to reflect on a career built on transformation, presence, and heart. Doug and Derek, thank you so much for coming on.
Well, that is an introduction I can never live up to, but thank you so much.
I tell you what, let's start with you, Derek.
We finish right now. I'm done. Yeah.
Look on the Webernet for his name, and you'll be fine.
I was talking to now his brain has escaped me. Anyway, he was in Star Trek Discovery Season 2, and he turned around to me and says, I need you to send me a snippet of the intro, because not even my agent can do it that well when I want to record it, so I can play it out every time someone says, oh, sorry, who are you? James Frayne, that was it. It was James Frayne.
Oh, James Frayne, yes, of course.
The lovely James Frayne. So I tell you what, Derek, let's start with you then. So what made you feel that, Doug Jones' story deserved to be a feature-length documentary?
So I've been Doug's appearance manager for 18 plus years now, and we've grown to be more than family. We're friends. We're like family now. And in all the years that I've been with him and the adventures and the road trips we've been on, there have been triumphs and there have been depressing parts. Doug has cried on my shoulder. He has shared amazing moments with me that were positive for himself and in his career. And I look at the industry as a whole and just realize that Doug never gets the accolades that he deserves. And to be an insider to this gentleman's life and look at it, I wanted to find a way to let the rest of the world know how amazing he is and how much work and effort he puts into the career and each individual role that he takes on to help bring a visionary's dream to life. You know, an actor has to help tell the story and not take away from the story and not have it be all about themselves. And Doug is flawless at doing all of those things. And so this is my love letter to him. And I'm hoping that the rest of the world will see how amazing he is, and not just fans and stuff, but I want like the Academy to see it. And because I feel he deserves an Oscar for some of the work that he's done. So I
second that.
There. So yeah, so I just need this story to be told, and I can't wait. I'm excited to see it, and I'm part of it, and I can't wait to see what comes out. So,
we're excited to see it. I can't wait.
And if I can interject here, that I have horrible imposter syndrome. So sitting here listening to this is really, really hard for me. Okay. I can't live up to that either. Thank you. Gosh, both of you.
So, Doug, why did you agree, to let Derek and William make this film about your life and career?
Well, they tried a couple times, or he tried a couple times, asking, documentary, and I was like, nothing to document. Sorry, there's nothing to see here, folks. And so we were about to start the Star Trek convention in Las Vegas. It was day one a couple years ago.
Yep.
And I was still in the hotel, hadn't gone downstairs to start my table for the day yet. And Derek calls me and says, hey, stop by my room on the way down. I want to talk to you about something. I get into his room, and there is director William Conlin with him. And I feel they're ganging up on me. Okay, here goes. So he introduced me to William and told me all his pedigree and background as a filmmaker, as a documentarian. And so it was like, oh, okay, I guess I'm in good hands if we go with this. And with that, I still said, oh, guys, this is going to be so much work for me doing a documentary about me. It's like 60 some years of life to recount. And, oh, what am I going to have to pull to? No, we'll do everything for you. We'll make all the phone calls, all the emails. And so I said, well, okay, if it's really not that, well, I guess I can. Good, great. So I said yes, and they pulled the camera out and started filming that day. It was like,
Well, no time like the present. I mean,
right, exactly, exactly. So they got lots of interactions with the fans at at my table and at my panels on stage and photo ops, and then they got fan reactions as they came away from my table. What they did, I might have signed an autograph, might have done a photo op with them, might have hugged on them a lot, which I do anyone who comes to the
oh,
convention.
oh yes. I tell you what. I will quickly share my screen because in 2024 I had the distinct privilege of meeting you in person,
Oh yes.
as well as the lovely
Oh,
David.
David Tomlinson. Yes.
And of course, Derek. Thank you very much for that photo because I love this photo dearly.
Oh, I do too. It's great. We all look pretty good.
Yeah, and we got that at the end of it.
Oh, look at the brush. Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy?
So yes, we'll need to do a retake of that at some point. Unfortunately, I will be in Vegas this year, but I believe you're in Dublin instead. So
In Dublin, that's right. Yeah,
yes.
I'm so bummed I'll miss the 60th anniversary in Las Vegas. But I was on the Star Trek cruise this year for the
Yes,
60th.
you were. Yeah,
Got to
it's
celebrate
on my
that.
list of many things to do at some point.
Oh, it's well worth it. Yeah.
So, Derek, obviously, Doug's career is, well, I suppose visually iconic is probably the closest I can come up with. But this documentary seems to be aiming for something a bit deeper than just a highlight reel. What did you most want to capture about Doug as an artist and as a person?
Oh, see, now that's a good question.
That's a great question.
Wow.
Yeah.
So knowing Doug on a personal level and seeing his, again, going back to what I said before, like the heartache that he's gone through, but the triumphs that he's gone through is something that I think should be shared. And there are other parts of Doug's life that he's agreeing to let us share on screen so that people can get to know more than just the celebrated personality.
Yeah.
And what I know fans and or viewers are going to walk away from is they're going to go, wow, I mean, he really is amazing. I met him once at a convention and he was the most amazing, friendly, kind person I've ever met. And then they're going to watch the film and go, wow, he really is. Because we've been asking some of our interviewers, like, can you tell us anything bad about Doug? Does he ever complain about anything? And there's nothing. So it's like, okay, so this is all going to be a love fest, 2 hours on camera. And we're at a point now where we don't know what we're going to edit out. I mean, like, we've got our interviews down to a science, time wise, and the key questions that we need to answer. But still, to know that it needs to be cut down to a 2 hour feature film is going to be very difficult. So I told our director, I said, we're going to have 3 versions of the film. We're going to have the feature cut. We're going to have the director's 4-hour cut, and then we're going to have the 6-hour super duper pooper executive producer's cut because there's so much. So what'll ended up happening, I said this at one of the other interviews, where we'll just have the bonus features of the Blu-ray be a lot of the interviews that we couldn't squeeze in, or parts of interviews that we couldn't squeeze in. But it's not just going to be talking heads. We have a story to tell. Yeah. We're adding elements to the film as well that are like scripted per se to tell a story. So it's not just talking heads. And there's a lot to cover and a lot to not release, to review. No, to tell about Doug as a person and as a person, not as an actor, as a person, as a human being. And he's been gracious enough to connect us with the people like your teacher.
Part of what interests me about doing this was that the fans who meet me at conventions know my movie and TV credits. That's why they're there, right? They know that part of me, and I want this documentary to open the book on the rest. The person that got to that film in the first place. And to go back in time. So they're interviewing my 3 older brothers, my wife and daughter. And these are the parts of my life that I don't really advertise much.
Yeah.
So that's a more of a personal touch on this. And to go back to they're interviewing college friends and high school acquaintances.
Really going back then.
It's really going back. So but I'm so excited that we got my high school drama teacher on film, Hadn't seen her in over 40 years.
Wow.
And so we had our reunion on camera, and genuinely, it was not staged. It was just, they didn't let me see her while she's being interviewed. And then I came into the room and we screamed at each other. We hugged each other, face cupped each other, held hands and giggled a lot and we could recount stories together. And that was like heartwarming for me to reconnect with the woman who was the first person who knew what to do with my hopes and dreams.
That's special.
When you're a kid in Indiana, that's not where the center of show business is, right? So,
No.
uh, when you take all these hopes and dreams and whatever talents you might think you have to high school, and there's a teacher there that can put you on stage in a production and direct you, that she was the first person who knew what to do with anything that I brought to the room. So I had the chance to tell her how much I appreciated that and how good, what care she took with me, and to tell her that to her face now, after 40 some years of career for me. And she brought to the room, to this interview, she brought a folder full of newspaper clippings and magazine
Oh,
articles
wow.
she had clipped out of me all these years that she'd been collecting. I mean, that was, oh, you're right. Are you kidding me? My mom doesn't have those.
So, Derek, why did you choose William Conlin to direct the documentary, and what made him the right person to help tell Doug's story?
Sure. So a friend of mine who knows William was telling me about this film that he made called Making Apes.
Mhm.
It's a documentary all on the original Planet of the Apes films with Charlton Heston and Roddy McDowall. And so I went back and watched it. It's on Amazon. Even viewers of this show now can look it up.
Awesome.
And I got lost. It's a 2-hour documentary, and I got lost in it. When the 2 hours over, I'm like, wait, the documentary's already over. But the way that it flowed, there was a story to it, and it wasn't just talking heads. That's, for me, that is the most boring part of a documentary, or it's all about the bad stuff that happened. Like,
Yeah.
to me, a documentary doesn't have to be all about the secrets and the bad things about. Why can't you just tell a nice story and intertwine it with talking heads? And William did it. And so when it was over, I went back to my friend. I said, "You've got to introduce me to this guy." I had a private dinner with him, and I picked his brain. How did you make it? Why did you make it? Why did you do this? Why did you interview that person? And then I told him what I wanted. And then he was excited. He's like, "I have to be a part of what you want to tell." So it's all symbiotic. And William just has a really good storytelling tool that basically I'm utilizing to help bring my love letter to Doug to life. And it's very collaborative. The three of us, William and I are credited as executive producer and director and writers, but Doug is a producer on the film as well.
Yeah.
But he's what the film is about. He's the subject of the film. So there is so much where the three of us have to be on the same page to tell the story that all three of us want to tell. Because Doug has the right to say he doesn't want something in the film.
Yeah.
And we're going to honor it. We're not going to argue with him. If he's like, "Nope, take that out," we might say why, and then he'll explain it and he'll go, "Okay, it's out," and we'll fill it with something else. So the three of us are telling this story with Doug being the most humble of people, going, "Well, I don't want it to be known, but okay." And I think we'll have some surprises for Doug. I think when he sees the people on screen that we interviewed that cry, he'll get what we're trying to do.
Oh, so sweet. My gosh.
So, Doug, obviously you spent, most of your career disappearing into characters through makeup, movement, and transformation. What has it been like for you to step out from behind those roles and then focus on you?
Yeah. Well, thank you. It's like walking out of your house in a Speedo, right? You feel a bit exposed. Yes, most of my career, the credits that people know me for tend to be under rubber makeups.
Yeah.
Now, in my old age, now I'm 65 years old. And that's why this is timely to start a documentary now. Is that I also have been doing a bit of a transformation from. I've kind of graduated from monsters into playing more humans now. And I put my time in under rubber bits. And when you're wearing a monster suit and you have trouble going to the bathroom and you can't eat snacks during the day and you have to dehydrate a little bit so you don't have to pee so much, that's a young person's game. And,
Yeah.
and so I I've been enjoying the last couple of years since I took Saru off for the last time in Star Trek Discovery. I've not worn prosthetic makeup since then, and so the last couple of years have been me playing humans, and a lot of them. Filmmakers that come out of the woodwork to offer me roles now, knowing that I'm available for humans.
Yeah.
And I've been offered so many colorful parts now, and that will also be addressed in this documentary, where we can the fans who know me from before can go on this ride with me into the next chapter for me. So it's not over yet. We're not documenting a life that's ended. We're documenting a life that's in progress.
Yeah, because I suppose you're kind of peeling the onion, as it were, one layer off and moving on to the next one. Right. So no, I like that. That's going to yes, because I've seen some.
Should take the part out where we're carrying the coffin at the end.
Save that for the sequel. I guess, right? Yeah. But, oh, God.
There goes Doug Jones.
But being that we have Star Trek on your wall behind you,
yes.
A special interest to you and the people watching this maybe would be that a good chunk of this documentary will be interviewing a lot of my co-stars from Discovery, including Sonequa Martin Green, Anthony Rapp, and David Ajala, and the list goes on and on. All the Bridge Kids.
Bridge Kids.
Yeah, and Derek was had the foresight to come up and visit the set in Toronto to capture the application of my final makeup, my final day on set as Saru, and the removal of my final makeup in Star Trek Discovery. So that's a question. Time is like the process. How long does it take? What's it like?
Yeah.
Well, he filmed all of it, so we're going to get a time lapse on that.
That's awesome. I mean, it's not one of my questions, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Is how was that for you then, taking Saru off for the last time?
Oh, it was an emotional day for me. It really was. Now, something that we did in the makeup trailer is that we always had music going.
I've seen many behind-the-scenes videos.
Yes. And my makeup artists were so nice to always ask, like, what would you like to hear? But they always knew that Whitney Houston is my number one. To start with Whitney, and we'll go from there. So my final makeup removal was we had Whitney going, and so once it was off, I was it goes. Saru went on in about 4 different pieces. There was a cowl, and then an upper face, a chin, and a lip that all went on, and then so it was all glued and put together and blended edges. At the removal, they slid it up the back and removed it this way, all in one piece.
Right.
So at the end, I'm holding that piece on my hand, looking at my face for the last time, going, ah. And I got a little warbly, and so Whitney Houston's "I Will Always Love You" was playing in the background. So I sang along to Saru, and he's filming it the whole time. So I hope we can get the rights to the song to finish this up.
Yeah, I'm sure we can figure that out.
Yeah, but I will always love Saru. Yeah, we went through an awful lot together. So I'm glad that was a moment captured that hopefully will end up in this documentary.
I told Doug, is this okay to show? I told Doug that I will pay for the rights. Like we'll let something else go.
Yeah.
If it's, $1 million, well, it's not $1 million, but whatever it costs, because I think it's important to show that moment, because it was very much a part of who Doug is, not as an actor, but as a fan of Whitney Houston, as a hardworking actor on Star Trek Discovery. And that little moment, it's kind of like an epiphany, not an epiphany, that's the wrong word. How do you explain it? It's important to tell you a little bit about who Doug is and what Star Trek meant to him and Saru meant to him. Yeah. All very organically. That it was not scripted. It was he was doing it, and we're like, William, like roll, you got it. It was fantastic. So here I'll show. This will be an exclusive picture just for your viewers that no one has ever seen before, and it's just me and Doug on that last day.
Oh,
that precious.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So something to look forward to. We're very excited.
Yeah.
So, of course, look, Doug has collaborated with so many remarkable performers and creators over the years. Who can audiences expect to hear from in the film? Other than, of course, Sonequa, Martin Green, the Bridge Kids.
So I am being very careful with the release of names, only because if for some reason a scheduled interview does not get executed, for whatever the reason, could be a health, it could be they get called off to a movie.
Yeah.
We have people who have committed, but we haven't filmed them yet.
Right.
So basically what we're telling everyone is the cast members are released the day they film their camera interview.
Gotcha.
So if you go to IMDb now, you will see everyone who has completed their interviews and will be in the movie. We're not editing anyone out. Anyone that's recorded something will be in it, even if it's for 30 seconds.
Even if it's something.
But, you know, the big names because that's what studios want, big names, right? So we've got Sonequa Martin Green, we've got Noah Wiley, we've got Ron Perlman, we've got Tony Gardner and David Kirshner from Hocus Pocus fame. We've got Mike Elizalde from
he's a creature effects people. Yeah, Mike Elizalde and Tony Gardner are artists that have applied things to me over the years.
Yeah.
We also have legendary film critic Leonard Maltin. That was I couldn't believe he just wanted to talk about me. I know, and also Harvey Guillen from What We Do in the Shadows.
Oh wow!
He was kind enough to do an interview as well. One of my co-stars. So my gosh, the list goes on.
The list goes on, and we have one name that we're about to release. I can't. Sorry, that's not going to be your exclusive.
No, that's fine.
Another name that it's done, and this person is completed, so they're going to be the next release. But what we're doing this on purpose. We're waiting for the campaign. That's when this name will be released. And the hint is it's a huge name. So yay!
Yeah, but that could be anybody. I mean, there's not much of a hint, really, is it?
Wow! I will share. So we did for the campaign. We're doing these great items that are going to be available for people as perks, and so we asked. Why can I not find it?
When you say the campaign, we haven't talked about that yet.
Oh, let me. Well, because they're supposed to cue me for it, but I'm kind of jumping ahead because I want to say something because we're talking about this. We're talking about these amazing people. So, all right. So as a thing, so we raised all the money to shoot principal photography on our own, which I'm very proud of. It's very hard to do. But now we're at a point where we need to finish the film. So we're doing a crowdfunding finishing campaign so we can pay the editor and we can do Whitney Houston's music and the film festival circuit, which is very, very important for the success of a film. So we're going to be on Indiegogo and we're going to be offering every level of, for any fan out there that wants to help donate to finish the project. And there's never any pressure, but we've got some real cool things. We've got like original shooting scripts of Star Trek Discovery and What We Do in the Shadows that Doug has signed. We've got some original Star Trek prosthetics, like one of his Saru pieces. And the list goes on. Doug was gracious enough to go through his archives and say, look, I don't need this. I've got my memories, and if this will help make this film a reality, let's use it. But I'll tell you, so we went and had Sonequa sign this amazing photo of her and Doug together. Ooh. And again, no one's seen this yet, but it's a limited piece, and they each wrote a special quote, and they're numbered to 25. But after I did that, I texted Sonequa, and I'm like, I cannot thank you enough. And her reply was, it was my pleasure and honor, truly. And like I said, may you be blessed for what you're doing for our beloved Dougie. It is such a beautiful thing. Hug right back.
I haven't seen that yet. Oh,
yeah, this is the amount of love that this man has from the people that his life has touched.
For all the Discovery crew that we've spoken to, which is a fair amount now, everyone has said the same thing.
Oh, really? Wow. Oh, God, you're embarrassing me.
I'll tell you what then. So, Doug, obviously, when a character's face is covered, the audience has to kind of find the character's soul somewhere else. So, where do you begin building that connection?
Really, honestly, it's not much different than playing a human without the rubber on the face. I have to internalize everything.
Yeah.
You have to. Any actor should prepare with the heart and soul of the character they're playing, right? What are my wants, needs, loves, fears, interactions with other characters? What's my purpose in the story? All those things have to be there.
Yeah.
Whether I'm a guy in a t-shirt and jeans or I'm a monster all on all fours with a tail snarling at people down a hallway, I have to know the motivations behind it all. So for me, it's kind of the same process. When you add prosthetic makeup to that preparation work, well, now you have an extra challenge to get through, right? How much does that face express? Will
Yeah.
it respond to my face, or is it something built out from my face? It's going to have mechanics built into it with puppeteers off camera. I've done it all. So that kind of so you just have to add layers to that to the process that gets you to the performance. And if that includes puppeteers that are taking the cue off of me to add to raise an eyebrow when I tilt my head, once we've rehearsed that, or like here's the moments in dialogue, and here's the punch mark, the
Yep.
punctuation, they can work in concert with me. And that's happened several times over the years, or even in post production. Sometimes like when I was Abe Sapien in the Hellboy movies, and when I was the amphibian man in the Shape of Water,
Hmm.
the both of those fishman characters had eyes that were set into a mask, and I was looking through little tear ducts here, here, and here, right? And there wasn't, it was tight to the head, so there was no room to build in mechanics where they could puppeteer
Right.
motorized eyebrow movement or blinking. So that was added in post production with CGI, right? So CGI artists have to work in concert with my performance and add their bits. And it's the technology's gotten so good that it's
No.
flawless. You wouldn't really know that was added in post production. So it's all of that comes into play. But I'm still just an actor underneath it all, doing my heart and soul preparation work for that being.
And can I make a comment, not to go off on a preachy thing, but can I just tell you that what Doug just spoke about with CGI, that is the proper use of CGI.
Yeah,
Correct.
CGI, special effects, are a means to help tell your story,
Yes.
not to tell your
yeah, thank
story.
you. Or steal it
Absolutely.
and put it out.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
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 So, Doug, what are you hoping fans take away from the film once they've seen it?
Right. Well, like again, as anyone that knows any actor, any fan who's aware of an actor's career, they know the bullet points of that career, the
Yeah.
movies and TV shows that that person has been in. So I want this to open the book on more. Yes, those are my bullet point credits. What went into making those? What went into the person that ended up making those? Where did I come? Where do I come from? How did I get here? Young actors ask me all the time, like, did you have any inspiring words for my career and what's ahead? And I'll tell them what worked for me when I was a youngster, turning on the TV and seeing characters and actors on that TV set, going to a movie theater and seeing actors on that big screen. That told me that it could be done. So please know that it can be done when you see such things. And this documentary will show you exactly how it was done for me. So that's what I hope to take away.
So, of all the extraordinary characters that you've played over your career, which one feels the closest to the most unmasked version of you?
Ooh,
That's
that's
good.
really good. Well, it's funny because oh gosh, all the characters I played tap into some piece of me. Uh, and I infused part of myself into each of them. Good guys, bad guys, all of them. So, God, but the most like me, hmm. Well, Abe Sapien from the Hellboy movies and Saru from Star Trek Discovery they're very similar.
Yeah.
They're both very gentlemanly, very diplomatic, um, and well spoken, which I hope I am. So, and they're also a gentle voice
Yes.
in the midst of chaos.
Yeah.
Uh, I would hope I can be that. But then you get on the funny side. I love to laugh, and so the Baron from What We Do in the Shadows and Billy Butcherson from Hocus Pocus, when I'm playing in a comedic world, they tap into a big piece of me too. So it's hard to pick the one.
So, obviously, apart from the film, Get Me Doug Jones, Doug, what else are you working on at the moment?
Oh golly. Well, in the past couple of years, I've been doing so many films as myself, and
Yep.
a lot of independent films that are. I've got two films on the festival circuit right now. One's a short film called Pretty Boys, in which I play a movie star who is his star has faded a bit, and now he's got a chance to make a comeback, but only if his movie star son comes back and works with him
Yep.
after he and we're estranged and we try to so it's a short film that works out this father-son issue. Loved it. It's called Pretty Boys. And a feature film called The Strawberry with I play a doctor and with an older patient. It's a family drama and it's a beautiful story. And it stars Mike Farrell, who played BJ Honeycutt on the TV show MASH.
Oh,
uh,
yep. Yep.
I'm his doctor, and he's an aging patient of mine, and I have to give him some bad news at the beginning of the movie, and he deals with his family issues, and they come back to me at the end for where we go from here. So I bookend the movie, and I'm in such a small part of the movie, but it's a story that I just loved helping tell. And I've got another movie that just came available, at least here in the States anyway, on Amazon Prime, and I believe it's on Apple TV as well. It is called Operation Taco Gary's. Operation Taco Gary's is a zany comedy that is reminiscent of zany comedies of the past. You don't see them so much anymore.
Right.
So this is it stars Dustin Milligan from Schitt's Creek.
Yep.
It stars Simon Rex from the Scary Movie franchise,
Hmm.
and Jason Biggs from the American Pie movies. The list goes on. It's got a lot of names in it, and me as an alien trying to pose as a human and not quite pulling it off. So. Yeah, no, it is a hilarious movie, and I would recommend it without blowing anything for you.
And no rubber bits.
And no rubber. Well, I'm painted like I'm kind of grayish in tone with gold eye contact lenses and a bald cap, but you can absolutely see that it's me.
I was going to say that's quite tame for a Doug
That's
Jones
very
makeup.
tame. Exactly. Yeah.
So this question goes out to both of you. What do you hope people understand about Doug Jones and his legacy after watching the film? Because it's quite a legacy.
What I'm hoping, so one of the taglines that we've been using is that Doug is the Boris Karloff of our time. And I think what I would like to see, Doug will be dead. What I would like to see when I'm 90 is someone will make a documentary about the next person who will be Doug Jones, and it will be, this is the Doug Jones of our time. And I'll be able to look at that and go, well, I remember Boris Karloff, and it's like, wow. So I think for me, that would be legacy. That would be amazing, because we've said this before, like do the thing about the
four things. The title of this is "Get Me Doug Jones," which is a callback to an old joke. Like, what are the four phases of an actor's career? Who the hell is Doug Jones? Get me Doug Jones. Get me a Doug Jones type, and who the hell is Doug Jones? Right?
You're going full circle, yeah.
That's the journey we go on as actors. So actually, as monsters and creatures go, because I have because I've reached a certain age, and filmmakers and studios tend to think that I might be expensive, so they're going for the Doug Jones type now when it comes to rubber bits. But I'm glad the documentary is called "Get Me Doug Jones," which takes me back to that phase.
Yep.
And as an actor with my own face now, I'm entering that phase of "Get Me Doug Jones" as a person. So this documentary is. I hope that's the takeaway from this too, is that it's not a story. We're not just sitting here looking back. This is a story in progress to look to the future as well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's awesome. So
I
Derek,
think legacy is important with actors. So for me, there's a lot of things that I feel very deeply about, and if my friends and I are sitting around the dinner table and we're talking about, what bothers you, and again, sex, politics, and religion, we're not talking about it, but it's, so one of my biggest pet peeves when I moved to Hollywood, I wanted to be rich and famous sitcom star, comedian, and I remember going to sitcom classes in Hollywood when I had just gotten here, and my comedic timing, pat on the back, knock on wood, whatever. I was very good. I was very good at comedic timing. And one of the classes that I was in, the professor or the teacher, whatever, he's like, if you guys could all do what Derek's doing, you'll all be sitcom stars. And I'm like, oh, please don't embarrass me. And then I would say he would ask me a question like, who inspired you in all this, right? And one of my two biggest inspirations for film was Bud Abbott and Lou Costello.
Yeah.
Lou Costello was a genius in my mind. And then for sitcoms was Lucille Ball. And we're in this sitcom class, and a couple of the actors literally raised their hand and went, who's Lucille Ball? And I lost my because I'm like, you cannot history
and not know
people that paved the way for you.
Yeah.
And so for me, again, legacy, if no one better ever friggin' hear me saying who is Doug Jones, because I will, trust me, I will go on a rant, especially if you want to be a suit actor or performer, or creature performer, or monster performer, or an actor in general. If Doug, Boris Karloff and Lon Chaney they paved the way, right? And then you have people like Robert Englund who continue that. You're doing the same thing. So these names can never be forgotten. And 100 years from now, and 200 years from now, his name will always be known. It's gonna be, Lon Chaney, Boris Karloff, Doug Jones, without a doubt.
Well, your lips to God's ears. I don't know, but. With that theory of legacy too, part of the documentary does explore mentorship. I have had many tall, skinny actors come to me going, I want to do exactly what you do. How do I get there? And I don't have time to answer everybody's inquiries when it comes to that. But when someone does come to me with potential, I'll make time for them if I can. Yep. And so here in Los Angeles, I have my favorite place to meet people is the NoHo Diner. It's an old diner with a lot of Hollywood pictures on the wall and waitresses that call you honey. I love the place. So we went there. We had actually, meet me at the NoHo is just something I say. If you want to get together with me, that's where we're going to meet. So I have, and I call these young people puppies. So I gather the puppies up, and I'll meet one at a time, and we'll talk about the showbiz and talk about personal lives, and if I can be there for them, because a lot of actors move to Los Angeles that are kind of transient. They left their families behind. Yeah. Family might be a good family, might be a bad family. We don't know, but either way, they either miss their parents or long for a parent, and so I can hopefully try to fill that role as a mentor in the showbiz. Well, we gathered a lot of these puppies together for a sit-down breakfast. It was a great idea that you had, so that part of the legacy, I guess, is to pay it forward and pass it on. I'm a big believer in that I'm not going to be here forever, and I would love for to any skills that I have or any lessons I've learned, if I can pass that along to a younger actor who really wants to do what I'm doing, then I'm here for that.
That's awesome. I mean, you may not be here forever, but your characters most certainly will be.
Well, thank you. I hope so.
So Derek, obviously for people watching and listening and want to keep up with the documentary and obviously support the project as it moves forward, where can they find it online?
Yes, thank you for asking. So getmedugjones.com is our official website, and plus you can find it on IMDb as well. We're encouraging people to put it on their watch list. And then on April 20th, we will start our crowd finishing campaign on Indiegogo. And because we haven't started it yet, I can't give you that website. But if you go to getmedugjones.com, once it's live, it will be on there. And then anyone who would like to support us in the dream that we're trying to bring to reality, you can go on there, and there will be tons of different levels of perks that you can obtain. And we appreciate any help that we get, but there's no pressure. At the end of the day, when the film is out, please just go buy a ticket. That's going to be the key. But yeah, getmedugjones.com. We'll constantly have updates on how to help us get this film to the finish line.
And also, if you're on the social medias, Get Me Doug Jones has a Instagram page, and
right?
Facebook, Twitter.
I believe it's Facebook. Instagram is the one that they've been really focusing on, and it's Get Me Doug Jones.
Yep.
And then, of course, my company, Cool Waters Prods, on all platforms, and then
Actor Doug Jones on all platforms. Yeah.
So there, you definitely find us. Google Get Me Doug Jones, and it'll all come up. So
we'll obviously make sure as soon as that Indiegogo link is available, it will be in the description as well.
Thank you.
So to both of you, thank you so much. We are so excited to see this. We really are.
Thank you.
So, Doug, Derek, thank you for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk to both of you. To follow the documentary and keep up with the project, obviously, getmedougjones.com. And if you've enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe to us here at the Clonestar Podcast, wherever you get your podcast, on YouTube for more interviews, reviews, and of course, Trek-filled conversations. Remember, until next time, be brave, be bold, and boldly go.
Hear, hear.